I want you to get out the mindset of taking what's available to you or just taking what you can get. As a founder committed to building an alignment, you need to stand firm in your desires. You need to stand firm in what is truly aligned for you. Alignment isn't about tolerance. It's about coherence of desires. Hi, I'm naomiolutayo, the brand priestess, and I partner with spiritual women founders with multi-venture visions to bring it into full materialization, coherence, and alignment with the vision that God has given them. If this video activates you at all, consider subscribing to my newsletter, Letters from My Living Room. And that's a newsletter where spiritual women founders, just like you, subscribe when they're ready to apply, embody, and activate their alignment in their leadership, life, and brand. Anyways, let's get into today's video. You have spent too long letting the limits of this industry, your peers, your mentors, and just life in general, dictate the height of your ceiling. That's why you have accepted burnout, overworking, extractive partnerships, maintaining situations where you're not being appreciated, because that's all you've known and that's all we've been taught. But now that you have realized that alignment is what is required of you to bring materialization to this vision, now that you are recognizing that it's demanding more of you, you know that you can't continue on the trend of only accepting what is there. Because remember, you are the leader and you're the blueprint. When you're building an alignment and you're committed to fully birthing and materializing this vision that God has given you, you have to move differently, more intentionally than the average person. To build an alignment with the vision that God has given you, it is requiring you to only choose what's aligned. And this can look like contradicting what's common practice. It looks like moving at the pace that works for you and your team. And it looks like saying no to seemingly once in a lifetime opportunities. Your path as a founder, your path as a spiritual woman who is co-creating this vision with God does not have to look like everyone else's, and it does not have to look traumatic and hard. We've been told that we have to slave away from 4 a.m. to 1 a.m. We're taught that we have to give up our bodies and our health for what we want, and it doesn't have to be that way. The standard of others is not our standard. It doesn't have to be that way. This is where your position of creatorship and authorship comes in. You have to decide what you're willing to tolerate, what's aligned, and what is completely off limits. When you're going through your path as a founder of alignment, you have to really know what you want. Not only do you have to become truly acquainted with this vision that God has given you, to know the bounds and the limits of it all. You also have to know your limits. What is your rhythm? What do you want? And then never deviate from that. This is what architecting your experience looks like. It's not throwing yourself into something and hoping something sticks. It's not throwing yourself into something without even giving credence to who you are and what you need, what your family needs. It is literally understanding what is the vision and who you are and accommodating that with no negotiation. You know you have this vision. You know it's multidimensional. You know it's ahead of its time. You already understand what's required of you. When you think from that angle, you will figure out your non-negotiables. What do you refuse to give up on this journey? And when you figure that out, stand by it. What are you not willing to do to bring this vision into full materialization on earth? When you figure that out, stand on it. What will you never do in your company? What kind of person would you never allow in your corner? What are those things? And when you figure it out, stand on it. For example, maybe you're a mom and you just refuse to let anyone else raise your kids. So that would mean working excessive hours and odd hours all the time is just not possible for you. Set that intention now, and don't ever cross that line. And it's possible. The thing is, especially for founders like you have visions in industries and visions that require, typically the standard requires extremities. And I know that's been a concern of yours. And maybe it hasn't been a concern of yours. Maybe you're just that kind of person who's just like, I'm willing to do anything, and that's great. But know your limits, because we're not trying to build a cage. You can't build an alignment when you're not honored. For example, let's say you want to always retain full ownership of your company, even generationally. How do you need to build to honor that non-negotiable? Or example, maybe you don't want to ever take venture capital investments. How do you need to move to make that a reality? That's not being illogical. That's not being stubborn. That's not being arrogant. That is honoring your vision and honoring yourself. The problem is that so many of us go into things without architecting the reality that we want to experience. We just go in it and we just accept whatever founderhood throws at us, and that often looks like being backed into a wall. When you're building an alignment, you have to position yourself to not make decisions out of survival, because when you're in survival, you will choose survival decisions, and you in survival mode and alignment will never mix. They are the complete opposite. They contradict each other. So when you're planning to build an alignment, architect the experience that you'd like to have. Alignment says there can be nothing but the reality that you are designing as a spiritually attuned, aligned founder. If this video has activated you at all, make sure to subscribe to my newsletter, which is linked down below. My newsletter is a place where spiritual women founders with multi-venture visions come to be led and guided through their alignment journey as a founder. Anyways, I thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.